Tonight on Business Life, Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, denies allegations that government is relying solely on treasury bills to service maturing coupons on new bonds.
DDEP on the T-bills. We are working to reduce our over-reliance on the T-bills by, aggressively pursuing revenue and then also expenditure control.
Government considers reopening the domestic debt exchange program for persons who did not sign up to reconsider their decisions. And in a recovery economy, businesses are being urged to leverage international business treaties.
I would like us to take keen interest in these international agreements and flagship programs and explore them to benefit our businesses.
We have details of these and many others lined up for you. Please stay. Always a joy to have you on. I am Pius Kojo Baka. Let's now look at our stories. And government has denied that it is solely relying on treasury bills to refinance coupons on new debt exchange bonds. It is coming after the Finance Ministry announced that it will raise a record 39 billion cedis for third quarter of this year, while interest on bills have hit 25%. But Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, says government is drawing funding from other areas to support its financial obligations.
T-bills are a source of revenue for government, but you also know that our largest source of revenue is our tax revenue. And so you cannot isolate the use of T-bills to finance the maturing bonds. Secondly, money is fungible, as you know. And so we operate a single treasury single account. And so it's difficult to segregate T-bill generated revenue and then tax generated revenue. And so I can assure you that we are going to be able to meet our obligations through the aggressive revenue mobilization that we are doing. We are not going to do DDEP on the T-bills. We are working to reduce our over-reliance on the T-bills by aggressively pursuing revenue and then also expenditure controls. And to the extent that we have a successful DDEP, which we know we have, our financing needs will also reduce, and therefore looking up to raise so much through T-bills will be avoided.
Now, he also disclosed that government is looking at reopening the domestic debt exchange program for persons who did not sign up to reconsider their decisions. According to him, the move has been influenced by concerns of tradability by some investors who still want to hold on to their old bonds and government papers. Dr. Adam added that the proposal could be considered with some measures taken to deal with the concerns of all investors.
And the intelligence we have, indicate that we are moving towards a very successful tender for all the exchanges that are ongoing. The cocoa bills, as you know, it's ongoing, but we have extended, I think, to Friday.
Were you struggling to get people to participate?
No, I think the Bank of Ghana is discussing, some regulatory issues with the banks, because the commercial banks have demanded some forbearance, additional forbearances, and the Bank of Ghana is discussing that with them. And so we want to give them that opportunity to make progress on those discussions. But we are closing tomorrow, Friday, and I can assure you that we hope to achieve more than 90% participation. As far as the US dollar exchanges are concerned, we have about $809 million involved in this, and that is also closing. We are also hoping to achieve more than 90% of participation. As far as the pension funds, the pension schemes have a very rigorous internal approval processes, and they asked for us to allow them some time to secure those approval by their boards, and that was why we had to extend that one too. I'm very confident that we'll be very successful with that one as well. But let me come back to the holdout for the first DDEP that we did. I want to encourage them to participate when we reopen. For those of them who have access shortly, I'm not able to give you definite time, but it will be done shortly, because they will face challenges such as liquidity, to pay, and then also tradability of their bonds is going to be a problem for them. Eventually, their bonds will lose value, and so when we reopen for them, it is in their interest to participate, so that they can also drive the benefits associated with the new bonds that we have.
All right, so let's stay a while longer on this, and let's go on Zoom and speak to economist Dr. Patrick Esuming for more. Pleasure you could join me, sir, on Business Live. First off, do you think this exercise is necessary, considering the report that government said the DDEP was successful initially?
Good evening, and good evening to viewers. Thanks for having me. Well, is this necessary? Probably. I think we all know that when the government declared the DDEP successful, it has actually stepped down the amount it was initially targeting, and it has changed the calculation. So even though it declared it successful, you get a sense that recent development has shown that it's going to have challenges. I think it's clearly struggling to get the energy sector bills, the IPPs to sign on. So you get a sense that the government is having challenges, and therefore it sees that it has to do another round of DDEP. I don't think what the minister is saying, that they are interested in solving tradability and liquidity issues for holders of the old bond, is something that is the case. I'm not sure that that's what the government wants to do. You get a sense that government is struggling to raise enough from the other exchanges, and that's why it's bringing this up.
What kind of signal will this exercise send to the international credit rating agencies and, of course, the IMF and other investors?
Well, this generally sends a bad signal in terms of how government has gone about this whole domestic debt exchange. And from the very beginning, it had been suggested to the government that they should do a broader stakeholder engagement, and then be upfront about the extent of the problem and the possible solutions. It obviously didn't take that approach. And now, we see it is done, it's not done, there's a second round, there's no second round. All of this is not helpful. I think in modern economic policy, a key part is policy communication. And I think the handling of this domestic debt exchange, or the whole process has been terrible.
Terrible, you say. Now, do you hold the view that it is a window of opportunity for other investors who did not sign up to do so now?
I don't think so at all. I think that's the message that the finance minister that you spoke to, that's the message he's trying to put across. I think you get a sense that the recent payment for the DDEP is all part of efforts to convince people who had not signed up in the first one to sign up. I don't think it's really a concern about tradability. The people who are holding the bonds, they have seen the government has been struggling to pay those bonds. Until recently, the government was struggling to pay those ones. But it looks like those payment issues are behind. And those who didn't sign up the first time, they knew exactly why they didn't sign up. So it's not a matter that people were mistaken or people didn't understand what they are doing. And in any case, the government had excluded a lot of some groups. So I don't think it's an issue that, not signing up for this second round will be a problem. I think people will not be convinced by what the government is saying, that they want to help with the tradability.
I guess government will struggle to meet its target then, if what you're telling us is anything to go by.
Yeah, I would be surprised. I think people will be more skeptical. I think because, a lot of the ones that didn't sign up, we were told that it was what, 80% or 85% that sign up. So, if you communicate that it's been very successful and you've moved forward, and then now you come back to come and tell us, oh, I need to do a second round to help those who didn't sign up. I think people will be very skeptical. So I don't think people will also know now that not signing up to the DDEP is not the end of the world, and that there's always a chance that you get your bonds back. So I'll be surprised if the government is successful with the second round.
Either ways, government would have to go on with the program. Now, how should government handle this to get a buy-in of investors, really?
I wish and hope that before the minister made that statement, there had been engagement behind the background. I think that's one problem that this government has faced in terms of handling domestic debt exchange programs like this. I think it fails to understand that, the holders of government bonds and, the Ghanaian population in general are major stakeholders in the success of any economic policy and a program like this. And you have to make genuine effort to engage people and get them to understand and buy in. Otherwise, you always be playing catch up. And I think that's what they've been doing. So if they want this to be successful, they have to go back and sit down properly and engage the people who are still holding the old bonds and have a discussion with them and convince them and let them understand why this is important, and not what we have been told that they are trying to help with the tradability. I don't think people will buy into that. So you require honest communication, open and honest communication, and then you have to be credible and believable. If you do that, then you have a better chance.
Do you think a response from bondholders ignoring could be negative if they fail to sign up?
I don't think so. I think, the first round, there was a lot of uncertainty about what will happen if you don't sign up. In some sense, if this came 3 months ago, at the time where even the pensioner bondholders who had been explicitly given exemptions were struggling to receive their bonds back, I think at that time maybe people will see, well, if you don't sign up, the government may default anyway. I think now the IMF program has come on board. So the whole point that we need to do this to sign on the IMF is not to sign on to an IMF program. It's no longer something that government can use to convince anybody. And Ghanaians have seen that even if you don't sign up, people are now getting their old bonds paid. So I don't think there will be any negative consequence for people who don't sign up. It's something that, if you get from the communication, it's something that the government is trying to play out. I don't think that people will buy into that.
In November, we are supposed to get our next tranche of the IMF program. Looking at how things will be panning out in relation to this very program government intends to embark upon, do you think it might affect our request or our quest to get the next tranche?
I think, the big thing that has to happen, that probably hasn't happened yet, is making progress with finalizing the arrangement with the external creditors. If you look at a lot of the things that has to happen, there are a lot of reforms and the framework issues, legal issues that have to be done. And in the last, since the program was approved, you've seen a lot of action going on that front. So I suspect that, for those reasons, we will probably see the government pass the upcoming review, because I think there are a lot of regulatory steps that have to be that has to be crossed, and then you get the next tranche. And I think there's my expectation that will happen. But this new debt exchange that they are proposing, you get a sense that it's just coming from government struggling to, make gains from the other negotiations, the IPPs or maybe the external creditors. So that's why this is bringing up. But I don't expect that this will have a strong bearing on the next review that is coming up.
Very well. Thank you very much. Dr. Patrick Isume, an economist, speaking to us there. Let's touch on the story. Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Nana Amadukia, has retreated government's commitment to expand the economy through international trade to help improve foreign earnings. She has encouraged Ghanaian businesses to leverage international business treaties to access and explore its full benefits. She spoke at the Canada-Ghana CEOs Connect. The Canada-Ghana Chamber of Commerce CEOs Connect focused on financing and growing local businesses in the country. Small businesses were admonished to leverage on partnerships to ensure their growth. Delivering her keynote address, Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Nana Amadukia, said businesses must take advantage of the opportunity presented through international treaties.
Signing and ratification of international agreements and protocols that provide market access opportunities to locally made goods is a demonstration of the government's willingness to support trade and industry. In recent times, Ghana has acceded to a couple of international trade agreements, including the WTO Trade Facilitation Agreement, the AFCFTA, that is the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, the Interim Economic Partnership Agreement, the UK-Ghana Trade Partnership Agreement, and African Growth and Opportunity Act, popularly known as AGOA. As leaders in the trade and industry sector, I would like us to use this opportunity to encourage each and every one of us to take keen interest in these international agreements and flagship programs and explore them to benefit our businesses. Until we explore the opportunities that are within these agreements, they are as good as being in the agreements.
Chief Executive of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Yofi Grant, added that Ghana needs to improve the business environment to attract more foreign direct investments. According to him, businesses can leverage on these as an alternative funding source.
Today, most of the SMEs, SMIs only know about bank loans. They feel they should go to the bank to borrow and then they can't pay. And we all know what that ends up as. You have many distressed companies who cannot pay, whilst they may be trading with potential partners. So there are many instances where you see the potential for mergers, you sometimes see the potential for acquisitions, you also see the potential for investment capital from either private equity firms, venture capital firms, but also foreign direct investment. The challenge we have as a country is that we need to open up the space to facilitate that.
The High Commissioner of Canada to Ghana, Martin Morio, reiterated Canada's commitment towards helping Ghana and Africa achieve the aim of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement.
Free trade is for sure, a significant tool to increase, economic development. Canada, we're a country that relies on trade tremendously. We have enormous amounts of free trade agreements across the world, and it's really been of significant importance to build our industry and our economy. So having a free trade agreement across the continent is absolutely something that is essential for Africa's growth.
Existing corporations were urged to assist small businesses to grow. You're still watching Business Life. More after this break. Hello, welcome back. The Ministry of Trade and Industry has emphasized the need for businesses to adhere to strict quality standards to unlock the potential of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. Chief Director of the Ministry, Dr. Patrick Nimo, said it is essential for businesses to embrace global quality and standards program in the operations to gain competitive advantage in the global trade value chain. He spoke at the closing ceremony of the SECO and UNIDO partnership to train SMEs on ensuring quality standards of their products. Global trade is increasingly integrated into value chains and governed by quality and standards requirements. However, despite trade liberalization and efforts by developing countries to integrate into the world trade system, exporters from developing countries like Ghana struggle to gain significant access to global markets. This is due to the shift from tariff measures to non-tariff barriers such as technical regulations, sanitary and phytosanitary measures to ensure consumer safety. To this end, SECO and UNIDO have trained some Ghanaian SMEs on meeting and improving conformity with global market entry requirements. Speaking at the closing ceremony of the training program, Chief Director at the Ministry of Trade and Industry, Dr. Patrick Nimo, urged beneficiaries to strictly adhere to quality standards to unlock the potential of the African Continental Free Trade Area.
The GQSP leaves behind the LabNet, which hosts information on relevant conformity assessment bodies in Ghana for easy access both locally and internationally. The platform also allows Ghanaians to access other CAPs internationally. This is a very significant tool that will facilitate access to markets, including but not limited to the African Continental Free Trade Area.
Head of Cooperation at the Embassy of Switzerland, Dr. Simone Hebeli, stated that it is imperative to increase the awareness on quality within the global trade market.
It is truly satisfying to see the positive outcomes for the SMEs, the farmer groups, and the government institutions involved. Let me highlight a few of them, since they are also with us today. 63 farmers are now certified to the Roundtable of Sustainable Palm Oil Production, RSPO. They were standing on this stage just before me. And you should be aware that they were the first set of farmers to become RSPO certified in Ghana.
On his part, UNIDO representative for Ghana and Liberia, Stravos Papastravo, said the training program will afford these beneficiaries a better opportunity to compete under the African Continental Free Trade Area.
It has also played a pivotal role in guiding the national accreditation body towards international acknowledgement. An innovative aspect of GQSP's implementation has been the development of digital tools tailored to expedite trade in our rapidly digitalizing world. One of these pioneering tools, the Quality Infrastructure Index for Sustainable Development, has distinguished Ghana as a nation with the most commendable quality infrastructure in West Africa.
Over the past 15 years, SECO and UNIDO have worked together to strengthen Ghana's quality and infrastructure system with the aim of supporting sustainable integration into global markets. Now, Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress, Dr. Anthony Yauban, has called on the government to address the issue of low minimum wage to boost productivity. According to him, the lack of proper reward systems and low wages in workplaces, especially in the government sector, is a contributing factor to low productivity. He has been speaking at a Global Compact National Roundtable discussion on living wage.
So Ghana, our population is growing very, very fast, but our economy is not growing as fast as and if you have that kind of problem, you know there will be a lot of poverty because many people don't have space for employment. The employment we have in Ghana mainly are very, very cheap employment, paying nothing. And that's not the way you run an economy. I mean, if you do that continuously, in the next 10 to 15 years, the population will get to about 50 million. 50 million in an economy of less than 100 billion means we're in trouble.
Dr. Yauban there. That's it for Business Live for today. I am Pius Kojo Baka. Always a pleasure serving you. For more stories, you can get them on myjoyonline.com/business. Do enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye.